Okay, here. So it says, what is the first step when rewriting y is equal to 3x squared plus 9x minus 18 in the form of the vertex form, right? Hopefully by now you know what the vertex form is, which is y is equal to ax minus h squared plus k. And as you can see, this is what you call the standard form, right? Did I even mention that? Okay, they didn't. But you should know that this is the standard form, ax squared plus bx plus c, right? In this case, this is minus c, but you get the point, right? The standard form is basically this, and you have the vertex form. And you need to write this in terms of this, right? And they're only asking what's the first step, right? So that means you don't have to exactly solve the question, right? Because you just have to figure out what's the first step. So the first step is to actually complete the square, right? But in order for you to complete the square, you need to factor your negative 18. But let's do that. Okay, so the question is y is equal to 3x squared plus 9x minus 18. So this is your function, right? And remember what they were asking for. What's the first step so that you can actually have this y is equal to a times x minus h squared plus k. Or was it x plus h? It doesn't really matter, but it's in the vertex form. Okay. Okay, they use x minus h squared plus k. Right. So first thing you have to do is, because you know that there's a 3 here, you're going to factor the 3 out. So you're going to get x squared plus, so 9 divided by 3, that's going to be 3x. And then at the same time, you're going to have this negative 18 over here, right? So what you're trying to do is you're going to make sure that this is completely blank because you wanted to complete the square, right? I mean, that's how you're going to get to x minus h squared plus k, is because you want to complete the square from this, right? And if you think about it, you need to go back to this equation again and see whether these two are equal to one another. Because if you have this unequal to this, then your solution or your equation is going to be wrong, right? Okay, so if you try to multiply this back, so it would become 3x squared. So distribute 3x squared, and then you have plus 3 times 3x, that would give you 9x. So that's exactly the same equation compared to the first one, right? So it's the exact same thing, so that means you're on the right track. Okay, great. So that's the first step that you need to do, right? And let's see what they did. So yeah, I guess the first step is to factor and then you complete the square. So they said 3x squared plus 3x minus 18. Yes, this is the first step. So they're absolutely right. Okay, but anyways, since we're on the same topic, right, we wanted to know the vertex form, right? I know this is like the first step. So this is the first step. I should have wrote step 1. Okay, step 1. Yeah, so this is step 1, right? As you can see. But what about the second step, right? How do you arrive to this, right? I know there's a lot of students who's probably struggling on this, like completing the square, but honestly, it's the easiest thing that you can possibly imagine if you understand it, right? Okay, so once we've factored out the 3, all you have to do is go and look for your b. So how do I know this is b? Well, remember, this is in the standard form, so this is ax plus bx, or ax squared rather. This is plus bx, and this is minus c. So now you know that your b is going to be 3, right? So you're going to take b divided by 2, and you're going to square that, right? So you know that your b is 3. You divide that with 2, and then you square that. So that means this term, right, would be placed in here, right? Because now you're completing the square. Okay, so you have 3 over 2 and you square that. So that would be 9 over 4, right? So now you know that, okay, let's scroll down. Yeah, so now you know that this is 9 over 4. So when you write your equation, you're going to have the 3, which is still here. And then you have x squared plus 3x. And now this is going to be plus 9 over 4. Does that make sense? Because you're inserting a new number or a new term over here, right, which was not there to begin with, that means you need to also subtract that, right? Because you want to make sure that you don't add any of the terms, right, over here, because to begin with, you don't really have that term, right? Otherwise, your equation would be imbalanced. So once you've added the 9 over 4 and you still have the negative 18 over there, you're going to take 3 times 9 over 4. So 3 times 9 over 4, so that's equal to 27 over 4, right? When you multiply this and this. And the reason why I'm subtracting, it's because when you have this and this, it's a positive number. It's positive 27 over 4. So for it to become 0, right, you're going to have 27 over 4 minus 27 over 4, which is equal to 0. So that means it balances out the equation, right? Because you're not introducing terms. Does that make sense? In a way that you're having this negative 27 over 4. Okay, great. So we now have that, and then we're going to write this as 3. Okay, because we're completing the square, right? What's the rule when you're completing the square? That means you're going to take x, and because this is positive, therefore this must be positive. If this is negative, this has to be negative. And then you're going to take the square root of this, right? So the square root of this would be 3 over 2, and then you're going to square that because this is squared, right? From the vertex form. So you're going to square that, and then as a result, you're going to take negative 18 minus 27 over 4. So when you combine negative 18 minus 27 over 4, you're going to get negative 99 over 4, right? And your vertex form is actually this. And that's it. So that's how you're going to solve this question. But again, because they're only looking for step 1, right? It's just going to be this, which is exactly right.